Good day, young scientists. I am Teacher Jel and I am here to help you learn and discover everything you need to know about the world of science. I hope that your curious minds are now ready to learn. Prepare your pen, paper, and self-learning module in science.
Before we begin our lesson for today, let me share to you a science fact. Biodiversity is a term used to describe the enormous variety of life on Earth. It can be used more specifically to refer to all of the species in one region or ecosystem. Biodiversity refers to every living thing including plants, bacteria, animals, and humans. Scientists have estimated that there are around 8.7 million species of plants and animals in existence. However, only around 1.2 million or almost 14% of the totality of species have been identified and described so far. This only means that millions of other organisms remain a complete mystery. Indeed, the world is full of mysteries that is yet to be explored and unfolded. But don't you worry, science is here to help you explore and understand all these mysteries. To stimulate your minds, I have prepared two mystery boxes. One box is labeled plant. The other box is labeled animal. Each mystery box contains 3 cards. Can you guess what cards each mystery box contain? Write your answers in your papers. Let's check your answers. The first mystery box labeled plant contains grass, trees, and photosynthesis. The second mystery box labeled animal contains dog, dragonfly, and mammals. Congratulations, you did an excellent job.
What do a tree, a grass, a dog, and a dragonfly have in common? If you said that they're all living things, you are correct. Living things are called organisms, and as you might guess, organisms are divided into various groups. Trees and grass are plants, while dogs and dragonflies are animals. Plants make and store their own food, while animals move around and need to eat food to survive.
In this video lesson, we are going to differentiate plant cells from animal cells according to the presence or absence of certain organelles. To achieve this goal, you need to familiarize yourself first with the structure of a cell. The first person to observe cell as microscopic structure was Robert Hooke. In 1665, while looking at the cork through a microscope, Robert Hooke observed box-shaped structures which he called cells. A cell is made up of tiny organs called organelles that perform a specific function. While cells differ in size and shape, most of them have common structures. The cells of animals, plants, and other organisms have 3 basic structures. First is the cell membrane, which is also known as plasma membrane. It encapsulates the contents of the cell. It also separates the interior of the cell from the outside environment. The cell membrane regulates the transport of materials entering and exiting the cell. It is like a fence and acts as a gatekeeper to protect the cell from the outside environment. The nucleus is one of the most obvious parts of the cell when you look at the picture of the cell. It's in the middle of the cell and it contains all of the cell's chromosomes which encode the genetic material or the deoxyribonucleic acid. It also houses various proteins and nucleolus.
The nucleus is considered as the brain of the cell because it directs all the activities of the cell. The cytoplasm is the gel-like fluid inside the cell. It is the medium for chemical reaction. It provides platform upon which other organelles can operate within the cell. It is the material between the cell membrane and the nucleus. Now let's move on to the organelles. Mitochondria is one of the largest organelles within the cell. It is also known as the powerhouse of the cell since it is where the energy of the cell, the adenosine triphosphate or ATP, is produced. Ribosomes are tiny organelles that contain ribonucleic acid and specific proteins within the cytoplasm. Within the cell, ribosomes are directly involved in the manufacture of proteins. Another organelle is the endoplasmic reticulum. There are two types of endoplasmic reticulum, the smooth and rough. The smooth ER lacks ribosomes in its surface. However, the rough ER is the opposite. Since the rough ER has ribosomes, it is involved in the manufacture of proteins in the cell. The rough ER also helps in the transportation of proteins. On the other hand, the smooth ER is involved in the synthesis of lipids like phospholipids, which are used to build the cell membrane. Another organelle is the Golgi apparatus. It is responsible for transporting, modifying, and packaging proteins in lipids into vesicles for delivery to targeted destinations. While many types of cells contain only one or several Golgi apparatus, plant cells contain hundreds. In the cytoplasm, structures called lysosomes contain chemicals that digest waste and worn out cell parts. Lysosomes acts as the waste disposal system of the cell by digesting unused materials in the cytoplasm. Thus, they are also called suicidal bug of the cell. Lastly is the vacuole. A vacuole may be described as a membrane-bound sacs within the cytoplasm of a cell that function in several different ways. It is surrounded by a membrane and filled with fluid. Vacuoles store various molecules, including enzymes, waste products of the cell, water, and even food material, depending on the type of the cell. The cells in multicellular organisms have certain recognizable parts in them. Each plant or animal cell has a nucleus, which serves as the cell's command center. It also has a cell membrane. It also has organelles, which are small, organ-like parts that have functions. While some organelles can be found in every kind of cell, others are only found in plant cells or animal cells. There are also other differences between plant and animal cells that make it possible to tell them apart. While these differences are not terribly hard to spot, you'll need a good microscope to do so. Though they are different in some significant ways, plant and animal cells also have many things in common. Plant and animal cells are both eukaryotic. Eukaryotic cells contain a membrane-bound nucleus and organelles. The nucleus contains the cell's genetic material. The organelles of eukaryotic cells are surrounded by membranes, which are like outer skins that filter material in and out of the organelles. However, plant cells and animal cells do not look exactly the same or have all the same organelles since they have different needs. For example, plant cells contain chloroplasts since they need to perform photosynthesis. Plants don't get their sugar from eating food. They need to make sugar from sunlight. This process takes place in the chloroplast. Because animals get sugar from the food they eat, they do not need chloroplasts, just mitochondria. Plant cells have a cell wall as well as a cell membrane. In plants, the cell wall surrounds the cell membrane. This gives the plant cell its unique and typically rectangular shape. The cell wall helps strengthen the plant and helps it withstand the elements of weather such as wind, rain, and snow. The function of a cell membrane is to regulate the flow of water and other material in and out of the cell. It also acts as a protective barrier. Animal cells simply have a cell membrane but no cell wall.